Hello, I am Nickey.
And I am Desi.
And today we are here for
Sex on Sundays.
yes. So research shows that the majority of people have sex on Sundays. So why not have a
Sex on
vlog
Sunday.
about sex on Sundays? Exactly. So this is my brother, and I'm
This
his
is my sister.
yes. And so every Sunday we will bring you a vlog about sex. And so today is our pilot program. Yay! Hit the pixel and hits the just going for it, just going at it, just to see what's gonna happen. And so all of our vlogs will be done in one segment, no retakes, with all the blunders and everything that comes along with the messiness, the nastiness of sex. So,
Okay.
what do you want to talk about today?
Whatever you would like to talk about.
Okay.
Since you're the therapist, I think you should take the lead.
However, I do not play a therapist on our vlog. I'm coming to you as sister with brother, just simply talking about sex. So anything that we talk about will not be in exchange for seeking professional advice. It will be brother and sister talking about sex, our sexual experiences, what we grew up thinking and believing about sex because of our family of origin, about the systems that we live in, growing up as Black folks and still living as Black folks. So, disclaimer, I ain't your therapist. So if something comes up therapeutically, seek therapy advice. And this is not an exchange for that. So I thought that this first pilot program can kind of be us talking about just an introductory of what we were told about sex growing up, and the things that we heard, and just kind of how we experience our conversations together.
Well, as far as I remember, they didn't tell us nothing.
They didn't tell us nothing.
They didn't tell us anything. So we were ill-prepared for sexuality in the real world. We had very limited information. Most of mine came from my peers, people that were my age, and that information wasn't necessarily, accurate, just kind of what you hear, fly by night. So we really weren't educated. So I think it was challenging for both of us to start learning about ourselves and how to interact with others sexually on a sexual basis.
Yeah, and recognizing that our sexuality is the core of our being. So whether we're sexually active or we're not sexually active or somewhere in between, because it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Lots of gray areas.
Lots of gray, lots of color areas, that the core of our being, to normalize it, is our sex and our sexuality. I remember being told as a kid, as a girl kid, to keep your pants up and to keep your skirt down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see how that works out.
And so
they really didn't tell me that, from what I remember, and it's interesting that they would tell you that as a girl, and I'm saying, because girls and boys, people have sex and people are sexual beings. And I think when we ignore that part of ourselves, it's detrimental to ourselves as a whole, because it is a legitimate part of ourselves. We are sexual beings, and it's okay to be a sexual being. It's not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing. It's part of who we are.
And it's also okay if you want to refrain from having sex,
Absolutely.
as long as that's not a concern and necessarily problematic for you.
As long as that's your choice, that you decided to do that for yourself for whatever reason. Yeah.
And so, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about who you are as a sexual being in this world?
Me personally, well, I don't know. Well, something that does come to mind is something that I heard, not about myself. No, not about me being gay. About a lady's vagina, that it's average about 3 inches, the depth. Is there any kind of truth to that?
You just jumped from, well, not that I'm gay, to how deep is your vaginal canal?
Yes.
Yes. Is that something you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I think that'll be a little bit easier than my own personal experience at this moment.
You just want to jump to talking about vaginas.
Yes.
Can we save that for like not the palate?
Oh, okay. Well, what you need to be more specific. What would you like to know about my journey? Like I said, it was difficult for me. It was very challenging because I didn't have a prerequisite. I didn't know what I was doing. So a lot of it was trial and error. And I made a lot of errors, but I learned from them, or either you can call them life lessons, not necessarily mistakes, but I learned from those experiences. And I had my heart broken, and it was hard sometimes, but I did learn. But I know that if we had more of a platform, more education, a foothold on it, that our journeys wouldn't have been so difficult. But I did have friends. I am gay. I am part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And I did have a core group of friends and people that really helped me with sexual things, telling me about things and stuff, and why I was feeling certain ways and stuff like that, and certain things that I might want to practice and do, and without that information coming from them, I would have been flapping out in the wind even more than I was. But thank God I had some people to teach me, to help me, this is what we usually do. This is how this interacts. I mean, the only reference I had was a limited amount of gay porn. That's the only way that I had seen prior to coming out, people or men having sex with other men.
Yeah. And what I think, for me as your sister, I remember you referring to your community that you had created as family.
Yeah, and I had only heard that term
Yeah.
in the Black community, in the African American community. And then when I came out, I noticed that, that what was the LGBT community at that time, it didn't have as many letters and it didn't have as many changes as it does now. And that's all well and good and everything. But yeah, it was challenging.
It was a family.
It was a family. Yeah,
They
it
were
was
your,
a family.
they were your
Yeah,
people.
a family that you chose, that you weren't necessarily born into, but a family of your choosing. And as a gay man, and knowing a little bit about my community and what some of our people go through, you do end up having families that you make out of friendship relationships that become stronger bonds. That's one of the reasons that back in the day, I don't know if they still exist, they used to have houses, and people would belong to certain houses because that was their family, because their blood relatives had kicked them out because they didn't want to be associated with them because of religious reasons or whatever they felt was right or wrong. So, you're out on the streets and you have no family, you don't know where to go or what to do. And then, there's these houses that become your family and give you support and education, food, a place to stay, and to let you know that you're okay the way that you are, that you were born this way, and you're just as validated and just as beautiful as anyone else on the planet. So, houses, families, that community feeling is very important because you feel lost. If you're not priorly educated to this, and even with some education, it's a whole new world, a whole nother experience that you haven't had before. So you have to, me personally, I kind of dived in head first and just, either you sink or you swim. I was able to swim. I had, like I said, support from my family to help me, navigate this new lifestyle and this new life and figure out what it means. So thank God for family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap up this particular first pilot.
That's pretty good.
I think so too. This first pilot, this first pilot vlog. I'm glad that I have this opportunity to do this with you. When we were kids, we had a lot of pretend play,
Yes.
a lot of fantasy
Yes.
to escape escapism, and it helped us through this. And so through this vlog, hopefully we're going to play out some of those things, and be imaginative and creative and those kind of things, and truly continue to live into who we are as siblings, and create a space for other people to come and in this non-formal kind of way to just listen to us and come up with ideas and put things in the comments that are kind, about things that you want to hear us talk about. But I'm Nickey.
And I'm Desi.
And this is Sex on Sunday.
Thanks for tuning in. Is that it?